Hello everyone, we're back. It's been years. We've gone through dimensions. We're back. It's NopeNope. It's time for some Naruto cards. Now, I got a big video coming up. I got a big long one. I'm writing it up. I'm working out all the angles. This is not that video. I am going to release a big Eye of the Moon plan video about the ending of Naruto. And we're going to switch some things around. We're going to do some what-if scenarios, and we're going to follow a whole long story about what could have happened if Madara's plan was sort of more or less as he intended it to be, I guess. That's coming up. This is not that video. This is a little teaser. This is a little taste. This is a little sniff beforehand. We do have some new cards. We're going to go through them. We found a card store that actually will ship cards. Two, the Grand Old Anime Card Store and the Bandai Cayuse Specialty Store both actually shipped me cards. Many others did not, and I had to get refunds. So that's annoying, so it's been a while. I have some weird cards to show you, and I have one very good card to show you. So let's go. These ones we're looking at, these are SSRs, and they are this particular type of SSR. It doesn't have the numbers on the bottom, which I take it to mean it's a newer style card, although if I'm being honest, it really looks like an old style card, because the shininess is pretty much the same on every card. It's always this like these half circle lines of some kind. It's pretty much on the same spot in all the cards, and it looks very similar. Also, if we look closely, you might start to notice that something's maybe a little bit odd with these characters. I think the correct term is drawing a character off model. In other words, some of the expressions on these characters look a little different than what you would conventionally see. If you see Naruto here, his eyes are just like a bit too big on his head, on his face. It makes him look a little off-brand, or like kind of like a rip-off or something. So I'm noticing that for a lot of the characters. Some of them it looks okay. Pain looks okay here. I actually don't have any Pain cards, so this is a nice first, getting an SSR of him. You can see what I mean about the lines. Like, they're very similar. Like, Pain and Naruto both have these wispy lines around them. This isn't like it never happens in SSR, but the cards are usually a bit more diverse than this. Also, these are cards that go together. You can see the lines of Pain's purple wisps overlapping, and they fit together. The rivals are fighting. So Naruto looks a little off model. Pain looks okay. Sasuke, I think, looks pretty normal. Itachi maybe looks a little funny. Maybe his face is a bit too long, but otherwise fine. Who else do we got here? We've got Sakura. Her eyes are a little they're bulging a little too much, if you ask me. She looks a little funny, kind of like someone else drew her. Here's Sasori, kind of the same thing. Great fight. Love these two as rivals. Wish this could have continued on for a lot longer. I wish Sasori had survived his encounter with Sakura, and then they had like a round 2 later on. Because like, this is going to come out in the next video a lot, but like, boy, Sakura just doesn't have anything to do in this damn show / comic. Like, she really doesn't. I wish she could have had like an ongoing rivalry with one of the Akatsuki. Maybe Sasori would come to like begrudgingly respect her or something. I don't like that Sasori is a pretty anime boy. I like that he's a big grumpy turtle man who just argues with Deidara about art, and he's like an old grumpy man who moves all slow and has like a tail and shoots things. I just thought that was great. I like his I think it's Haruka puppet. The puppet he's normally in. And, you know, I don't love this form of Sasori, to be honest. I loved that he was a grumpy old man, and I was intrigued because it's like, oh, he's not just an anime boy like Itachi or many of the other characters. He's like this kind of unusual old grumpy turtle man. All the Akatsuki were supposed to be monsters. I think that's kind of a well-established Kishimoto lore fact. He started out with all the Akatsuki being kind of monstrous, like Kisame is a shark, Zetsu was some kind of plant monster. Sasori looked a lot like he was some kind of turtle monster or something like that, and that idea eventually got scrapped, and they just kind of are a team of guys with, I guess, one girl. Anyway, wish this could have continued. Love the Kazekage Rescue arc. I love Sakura in the Kazekage Rescue arc, which is something you almost never say. No one has ever said that about Sakura. She's great in that arc. Speaking of which, here's Deidara and Gaara. Again, kind of same thing, I guess. That would have been cool if Deidara and Gaara were kind of like rivals and they continued to fight at other times in the story. If that dynamic came back a little bit. Their fight was pretty cool. It was cool seeing Gaara for the first time as the Kage. He's trying to protect the village. They're like both flying through the air. You don't often see a fight with two characters who can fly, which is kind of neat. Yeah, and Deidara sort of tricked him, got him, snuck a little exploding caterpillar into that sand, and it was pretty cool. Honestly, it was great. Deidara looking off model for sure. That's a weird looking Deidara. Gaara looks mostly fine. I think maybe the dark outline around his eyes helps him look a bit more like usual, even if he's like drawn a bit weird. Let's take a look. Oh, I'm missing the rival for this next guy. Am I? Okay, whatever. Let's just move on. Okay, Shikamaru looks pretty normal. There. This is a nice Shikamaru card, actually. The black and the gold I am quite fond of. He's fighting against his rival, Hidan, and they sure get a terrific finish. That's just a wonderful finish to, a well-developed rivalry. I mean, Hidan was talking shit about Shikamaru's dead teacher, and Shikamaru ties that motherfucker up, blows him up until he's nothing but head, and throws his homie's lighter into a pit to explode the life out of an immortal man, Hidan, who is still a head in a hole to this day. And I guess nobody ever found him because they didn't reanimate him as a zombie. He's just still down there. And you know what? I'm glad, because some of those reanimations were a bit unnecessary to trudge through again. And it would be stupid if Hidan came back after he had such an excellent finish to his whole existence and Shikamaru's story arc. That would be dumb if he came back. I'm glad they didn't do that. Oh, this must be who's fighting Obito. Okay, I saw Obito and I wasn't sure. Kakashi's fighting Zabuza in this card series, but I think it's Minato. These two must be fighting. I might be wrong about that, because he did not look like this when he fought against Minato. That's okay. Do these cards seem to go together? Oh yeah, they do seem to go together. Okay. I guess it just doesn't make sense. That's fine. Obito and Minato. We're going to see these guys in the Eye of the Moon plan. We're going to see them do some interesting stuff. There's Obito with his Rinnegan that gets ripped out of his face. Madara rips a couple eyes out of people's faces. He takes Kakashi's eye, and he takes Obito's eye. And as we know, eye surgery, not a big deal in Naruto. A child can do it during a war in no time at all. Here's Kakashi and Zabuza. One funny thing is, it's like hard at the beginning of the series for Kakashi to fight against Zabuza. And if he uses his Sharingan even a little bit, he has to be bedridden for a couple weeks or a month. And then by the end of the show, he's using his Mangekyo Sharingan. He's firing it off shot after shot after shot of his ability, Kamui. And so, I guess, when Zabuza comes back as a zombie, Kakashi has to fight him again. And, in terms of continuity, like, Kakashi, I think, does just, like, beat Haku and Zabuza, like, right away, or else it's just not shown. Kakashi fights all the 7 swordsmen of the mist, I guess, and it isn't shown. Even in the anime, it's not shown. Because Kakashi just gets, like, so much wildly stronger than Zabuza. I guess the implication is, like, if Zabuza still was alive, maybe he could have also been gaining strength this whole time and would eventually get, to get sort of relative to Kakashi, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what Zabuza's potential is like compared to Kakashi, who seems to have a pretty high ceiling for learning new techniques and getting stronger, even when he's, I think he's 30 or something. He's not super old, even though he has gray hair. I think in Shippuden, he's like 30 years old or something, so he's not an old man. But yeah, just kind of interesting. The power scaling, the insane power scaling that goes on. Not like that Haku guy. he was just a young kid, We'll maybe see him again in another card series, so I won't say too much. But if Haku stayed alive, he could have been a Kage or something, because he was incredibly strong, but he was also very young. Okay, we got to start getting through these. Here it is. Guy and Kisame. Guy has a pretty exaggerated face, so he's looking fairly normal. These cards always show him using these weird nunchuck weapons. I don't remember if he ever uses them in the manga. I tend to think maybe not. Maybe he does in the fight with Kisame. Kisame looking like a fishman. He's more or less on model, I would say. Kisame, who would have guessed that he was the strongest of the Akatsuki? But it just so happens that he was the last one to die, besides Obito, I guess, who is not really a member. Kisame is the last Akatsuki to die, which means he just must be the strongest because he has to scale to all the other characters who are really strong. If you're still alive at the end of Naruto, you are a strong character. You're one of the strongest characters. Only the strongest can survive, especially in terms of the bad guys. So Kisame had to just be insanely powerful. And it's funny because, everyone says, well, Kisame in the original series before Shippuden was like, oh, I better not fight Jiraiya. Jiraiya's the son, and he's way stronger than me. He's going to kill me. And Itachi's like, yeah, we better get out of here, man. Jiraiya's going to kill us. Which, when you see Kisame, when you see him fight against Might Guy and Killer Bee and all these other people, like, power scaling is, I do feel like it's kind of dumb, but also it's like, damn, Kisame was fighting off multiples of some of the strongest ninja around. And he was fighting back. He was whooping them for a lot of that time. And there's really nothing Jiraiya can do. I guess this is a discussion for another time, but the Sanin, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Orochimaru, huge build-up. They get outscaled. Excuse me. They get outscaled in power by the end of Shippuden. It's clear they were meant to be some of the most powerful ninja around, but the focus of the story and the character's power and stuff just gets like too out of control, and it's kind of a retcon. There's Daigo Knight makes videos about Naruto, and he famously says, and people get mad at him for this, that there are like a million retcons in Naruto. I tend to think that's true, and it's not necessarily like bad. It's just when you write a manga for like 35 years or however long it went on for, you're going to need to change things. You're coming up with a story every 2 weeks and drawing the panels and stuff. So like, I'm sure the story evolves and things you said before just don't make sense anymore and sort of need to be retconned to move on with the story. But yeah, the result is that Kisame ends up arguably being like the strongest member of Itachi just because not Itachi. Except for Itachi, I would say, he becomes the strongest member of the Akatsuki. Just because he's alive longer than everybody else. And you have to be strong if you're still alive late in Shippuden. Speaking of strong, here's Hashirama, who looks pretty normal. And here's Madara, who looks a little bit weird. I would say his eye... Madara has bags under his eyes. And I would say a big, huge eye drawn as it is here kind of makes him look a bit wacky. These boys. These boys. The strongest. If only Madara had fought the third Hokage Hiruzen, who defeated the first Hokage, as well as his brother, while they were zombies. Oh, if only we realized that Hiruzen should have just fought against Madara. Another hilarious retcon that Hiruzen defeated the first and second Hokage in combat. They sort of have to say later on that Orochimaru is like, Yeah, my zombie technique, my Edo Tensai, it just didn't work too good that time when I used it. It just wasn't good. I resurrected a sort of weak Hashirama and a weak Tobirama, and that's why Hiruzen was able to beat them. It just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. But now I'm much better at it, even though I've been inside of a boy and then inside of a sword. And then Orochimaru, was sucked out of Anko's shoulder. But I'm still alive, and for some reason, my Edo Tensai technique has vastly improved, even though I've been sort of dead this whole time. And then we get the real Hashirama. And then, speaking of, a very funny, very funny duo of Jiraiya and Orochimaru. It kind of looks like these guys are partying or something together. It doesn't. I think they're meant to be fighting. Kind of looks like they just met each other at like a college party or something, and they're just Jiraiya's like, "Yo, man, what?" And Orochimaru's like, "What's up?" They're just really psyched to see each other. They're gonna party. Yeah, I guess they weren't ever really friends. I don't know. I don't think there's anything in the manga that shows Orochimaru really getting along with Jiraiya. I think he just didn't like him at all. Yeah, they don't have the synergy of other teams where there's like one goofy guy, one girl, and one aloof guy, I guess. Orochimaru just never seemed to really like Jiraiya. And he advocates for Jiraiya to let those children in the Rain Village die, and Jiraiya's like, no way, I can't do that. I gotta stay and raise those kids to be ninjas. Although I won't raise my own godson, Naruto. I don't know why. Looking like another retcon. Okay. So we've seen all these cards. Some of them are okay. Some of them are a bit weird. Pain and Sasuke are okay. Itachi's a little weird. Sasori's a little weird. Sakura's a little weird. I think these guys are funny. Hashirama looks fine. He doesn't really look off model. Same with Kasame and Guy. Kakashi's fine because he's got a mask covering his face, so even if he was off model, it would be very hard to tell. Like, there's not much detail to his face, so I guess it's probably easier to draw Kakashi. Let's look at the bonus card. It's a very good card. I got it a while ago, but I have not revealed it. Here it is. That's right. It's the Mister of the three summoned animals together. I would say it's one of the best cards in all of Kayuo. Gamabunta. What the hell's the slug's name? I don't remember. And Manda and Suki something or other. And here they are. They're all chilling together. This is part of a series of cards. I don't have the other ones. With Orochimaru, Tsunade, and Jiraiya also chilling together. And I love cards with the summons on it, and this one has 3 of the best ones. So it's pretty sick. I like that Manda's wrapped around this big tree. I guess they're all like relative in size or whatever. They seem like they're a lot smaller than normal, which is funny, which is hilarious, which is cute. They look great. The gold on the black looks great. The gold on the purple looks great. These guys rock. I kind of wish they hung out more. Like, I kind of wish Manda and the slug and the frog had more of kind of a working relationship together. Kind of like those old Looney Tune cartoons with the wolf and the sheepdog, or the coyote and the sheepdog. They beat each other up, but, you know, that's just their job. They hang out. They go for drinks, you know, outside of working hours. They're just buddies, or like at least kind of grumpy neighbors. I think that would be funny. Manda, we only see Manda once. We see Gamabunta and the slug a bunch of times, but we only really see Manda once when Orochimaru summons him. He's very malicious. He's very mean. He wants a sacrifice of 100 like live human beings for him. So he doesn't have a good relationship with Orochimaru, and he tells him not to summon him again or he'll kill him. And I think the only other time we see him is when Sasuke sort of summons him, forces him to unsummon, hypnotizes him so he doesn't give Sasuke any shit, and then just uses him as a body shield, and Manda just fucking dies after that, and he just dies being like, ah, fuck you. I hate you, Sasuke. And then he dies, and that's it. He's gone forever. Which is interesting, because you think, like, when a summon gets hurt, that it would just poof away in a cloud of smoke, and it would go back to where it came from, or whatever. Like, I didn't expect the summons to actually die when they take damage, just to de-summon. Kind of like a clone? Well, I guess a clone is gone for good. But Manda just straight up dies, which I guess means that Gamabunta could also just be killed in battle, and he wouldn't automatically de-summon himself, I guess. So kind of a dangerous job to be a summoned animal. I guess you don't know when you're gonna get called. You're like a fireman. You just got to be ready to go, ready to drop everything and start like killing a snaky guy at the drop of a hat. And that must be hard for them. They must take their contracts pretty seriously. Interestingly, some summons have leaf headbands on them. Kakashi's dogs and Hiruzen's monkey have leaf headbands. These guys don't, which is kind of interesting. Manda, not surprising. The slug lady seems to be more like, you make a contract with just her, and she has a contract with just you if you're Tsunade or Sakura. Whereas, like, the frogs, there's a whole bunch of frogs, and you can summon any of them. And they do seem to be in league with Leaf Ninja, like Minato and Naruto, and guys like that have contracts with them, but I guess they just have they got their own government or whatever. They can't be bound by the laws of the Leaf. They're also kind of gangsters, which is kind of funny. Like Gamabunta's like a Yakuza kind of. He's got like tattoos and piercings, and he like smokes and has a big sword. So that's funny. Anyway, hope you enjoyed these goofy cards. We'll be back soon with a big video with lots of new exciting cards. And we're going to talk about the Eye of the Moon plan. Daigo Knight just made a video about the Eye of the Moon plan, so that's exciting. It's in the air. The moon is in the air. All right. I hope you don't get summoned to fight a snake man, and good night.